Morning, children. Welcome back to the English class. We continue with our revision of lessons from the Real English book. We have already revised lessons 1, 2, and 3, and today we are going to do a quick recap of lesson number 4, that is the story of River Ganga. Let's start with quiz time to test how much we remember and how much we need to revise again. Now, are you ready for the first round of quiz time? Like before, please get a rough notebook and a pencil, and as I read the questions, you must jot down the answers so that in the end you can calculate your score and know how well you know this lesson. Have you all opened your notebooks? Let's start. You can write lesson number 4 quiz and start writing the answers. You need not write complete sentences, just jot down the keywords. First, name the king and his two wives. Name the king. So you write the name of the king and just the names of the two wives. Okay. Now the second one. How many sons did the second queen have? They are not asking about the first queen. So we have to just write the number, whatever you think was the number of sons. Now the third one, were they liked by the people? Here you have to write yes or no. And if you write yes, why? And if you write no, then why not? Now here we are talking about the sons of the second queen only. Now the fourth one, why did the king perform Ashwamedh Yagya? Not every king can perform Ashwamedh Yagya. Why did the king perform Ashwamedh Yagya? You have to write the reason in short, just the keywords. Now the fifth and the last one in this round, where was the horse found? If you remember, the Ashwamedh Yagya horse disappeared, and so people went here and there looking for the lost or the stolen horse. Now where was the horse finally found? Just write the name. Now we come to the next round. Round 2, again just write keywords. Who were the next kings? You have to write the names of the kings which you know, the names which you know. Written? Okay. Now, which god granted King Bhagirath's wishes? King Bhagirath did penance and he wanted some of his wishes to be granted. Which god granted his wishes? Just write down the name of the god. And why did he do that? You have to answer both the parts. Now the next one, the third one in this round. What solution did the god give to King Bhagirath? Solution, when you have a problem, you want it solved. So people suggest solutions for that problem. So what was the solution which the king got from God? How was Ganga finally allowed to flow on the earth? Because Ganga is supposed to flow with great force, which the earth cannot bear. So, how was it finally allowed to flow on the earth? In this answer, you may need to write a few more words. And the last one, why was Ishan puzzled after his grandmother told him the story? Now we start this lesson when grandmother starts telling a story to Ishan, and she tells the story of river Ganga. After grandmother has told him the story, Ishan is puzzled. Why is Ishan puzzled? Just try to write these answers on your own. If you can't remember or you don't know, please open your books quickly. Go through the pages of the story. There are just 3 pages, and write down the answers. And I'm going to tell you the score. Now you have to give yourself 2 points for each correct answer if you have done it without looking in your book. But in case you had to find the answer from the book and then write it down, then please be honest and give yourself just 1 point. Now, how will you rate yourself? If you have, sorry, if you have full marks, that is 20, then your performance is excellent. 18 or maybe 19, very good. 14 to 16, good. But if you have less than 14, you still have time to work hard and do very well in your exams. So this should make us work harder and read all our lessons attentively and learn everything properly. Now, please score yourself. If you need time, then you can just keep your notebooks aside while we do the other exercises, and later on you can give yourself a score and rate yourself how you have done. Now we come to what these words mean. These are words from your word bank. And as I told you earlier, you could have words and be asked to write the meanings, or you could get meanings and you may be asked to write the words. So you have to prepare it both ways. Rites, please concentrate on the spelling. RITES means religious ceremonies. Matted, forming a thick mass. When it is very thick and forms a mass, it is called matted. Next one is penance. You must have read this word, heard this word when you listen to stories. A religious act one performs to ask for forgiveness from God. Empire, a group of countries that are controlled by one ruler. Now, please remember, kingdom is smaller with lesser area, and when a king controls a group of countries, then it is called an empire. So an empire is bigger and is a group of countries, but it has got one ruler. And if that ruler rules over an empire, he is called or she is called an emperor. Now the next word, salvation. Being saved from harm after death. When you are saved from any kind of harm or any kind of punishment after death, it is called salvation. Souls are spirits of human beings that are believed to be immortal. That means souls never die, bodies die, but souls are immortal and these live forever. Now we come to complete the following based on our story. Are you ready? You must have written the answers in your book. So please open that page. And what page is it? It starts from page number 25. And you were also supposed to write it in your English notebook. So you can open either the book or the notebook and just check once again whether you have got the correct answer or not. Now, I must remind you once again that if you have written it in your own words, it is perfectly okay. But you have to check whether your answer and this answer, which I'm going to read, are the same. The Ganga is a holy river because why is river Ganga considered to be a holy river? Because it was brought down to the earth from heaven. It was supposed to be a river found only in heaven, and then it was brought down from heaven to the earth, and so it is considered to be a very holy river. Got it? Now the second one. People release the ashes of the dead in the river Ganga so that when a relative or someone we know dies, the body in Hindus is burnt and then they collect the ashes and they go and release these ashes in the river Ganga. Now, what is the belief that makes them go so far to release the ashes of the dead in the river Ganga? Because they believe that their souls may find salvation, that the souls or the spirits of the dead relative will not come to any harm and they will find salvation. So, what is the answer? People release the ashes of the dead in the river Ganga so that their souls may find salvation. Checked it? I hope everyone has rechecked, I should say, because once you have checked it, we are doing it again. Now the third one. King Sagar performed the Ashwamedh Yagya because why did he perform the Ashwamedh Yagya? Because he wanted to draw the boundary of his empire. That means he wanted to extend his empire and make people know till where his boundary was, and also wanted to show or tell people who the king was. So there were two reasons. First, he wanted to tell them till how far his empire was, and he also wanted the people to know who the king was. Got all three? Now we go to the next one. In the Ashwamedh Yagya, a horse. What does a horse do in Ashwamedh Yagya? In the Ashwamedh Yagya, a horse was allowed by the king to roam across the kingdoms, and whoever let the horse roam uninterrupted was granted the king's protection. Now, this seems a little longer and a little harder, but you don't have to mug it up or learn it by heart. You must understand it and write it in your own words. Now, why an Ashwamedh Yagya was performed was that he wanted to show the people who the king was until where his boundary was. But what is done in an Ashwamedh Yagya or what is an Ashwamedh Yagya is a horse is allowed by the king to roam across the kingdoms. That is, the horse is freed and the horse can go anywhere, and in the kingdom or maybe in the next kingdom, in the neighboring kingdoms, and a few soldiers follow this horse, and if the horse is allowed to roam and then go to some other place without interrupting the horse, then the king protects that kingdom and the kingdom comes under the king. But if the horse is stopped, then they have to fight with the king's army. Now you can write all this in short in your own words. And if you think you may not be able to write it on your own, you can understand what is written in the answer and write it down in your own words in the exam. Now the fifth one. The difference between the 60,000 sons of King Sagar and the grandson Anshuman was that the sons were cruel, proud, and not liked by the people. Because they were cruel and they were proud, obviously the people did not like them. But Anshuman, the grandson, was kind and brave. And when someone is kind to others, the people are going to like that person. So, what was the difference? The sons were cruel and proud, and people did not like them. Anshuman was brave and kind, and the people liked him. Now, the sixth one. All the sons of King Sagar were disliked by the people because they were cruel and unkind. You can write cruel and proud. We have already done this in the last. Complete the following. Have you got all the answers? If you have, then we go to the next exercise. The next exercise is answer these questions. Now, when you are writing answers to questions, two things you have to remember. First, you have to frame your answer in such a way that it is a complete sentence or sentences. And second, you cannot start your answer with the word because. You have to take words from the question and then continue after because, and the answer should be in the past tense. Now let us start. Why were the gods not happy with the sons of King Sagar? The gods were unhappy, you could even write not happy, with the sons of King Sagar because they were cruel and people suffered greatly because of their cruelty. Now, if a person is cruel, he is going to harm the others, he is going to hurt the others. But here the sons were also cruel, and so the people suffered a lot because of their cruelty. And so the people were not happy with the sons of King Sagar. Now, the second one. What solution did the gods find to their problem with the sons of Sagar? Now, gods were also not happy. People were also not happy. So now gods have the power and they can find a solution to this problem. So, what was the solution to this problem, or how did they decide to solve this problem? The God's solution to the problem of Sagar's sons was to lead them to their death. So the solution they found to their problem was that they thought that all these sons should die, but they did not want to kill them directly. So they wanted to create some circumstances or situations which would lead them to their death and they would all die. And so this was the solution found by the gods. Now the next question. Why did King Bhagirath choose to do penance? Now King Bhagirath came after King Sagar and Anshuman and some other kings. King Bhagirath chose to do penance because he had no sons who could succeed him as the next king. There were two reasons. First, he had no sons who could succeed him as the next king, and so he was troubled by the unfulfilled task of not having brought Ganga to the earth so that his 60,000 ancestors could attain salvation. Now, I hope you all remember the story why he wanted to bring Ganga down to the earth so that his ancestors who had been reduced to ashes could be out of this and find salvation. And that is why he wanted to bring Ganga down, which no other king had been able to do. Now, the next one, why and how did Shiva stop the Ganga from flowing down to the earth? Now, why Shiva stopped the Ganga from flowing down to the earth with full force and how? Ganga was very proud and she was the favorite of gods. Now, why was Ganga very proud? Because she was the favorite of gods, so she flowed with all her might, that means with full force, which of course the people of earth and the earth could not or would not have been able to bear. But Shiva stopped her with his matted hair, and then he allowed, or Shiva allowed, it to flow down with a lesser force. Now we come to some idioms. I hope you remember what idioms are. We had done some things or other things, means there were certain exercises on vocabulary. Then there are some grammar exercises, which of course you will have to revise when you are revising the lesson. But then idioms were there in the vocabulary. And what are idioms? The words that someone speaks, they are not usually a single word. It's a group of words or phrase, and the phrases have a different and deeper meaning than the individual words. When we take each word in an idiom, it means something else, and when put together the meaning is different. Now, some of the idioms mentioned in our lesson, that means in the exercise after the lesson gets over, I have listed here. What you are supposed to do is find the meaning if you have still not found, and understand it. And if needed, you may be required to write the meaning, or you may be asked to use it in a sentence of your own. So let's see some of them. A little bird told me. Second one, a steel. Third, bane of my life. Fourth one, a bed of roses. Fifth, eager beaver. Sixth, keeps to herself. Seventh, keep you going. Now there are some more. Keep track. Then the next one is back to square one. The very next one, break a leg, which I find the most interesting, is break a leg because the meaning is totally different. And the last one, which I have here, is without a hitch. Now, your homework today is on idioms. You have to just see these idioms I have listed and think or read the meanings. If you remember the meanings, very good. Otherwise, you have to find the meanings of these idioms and then think how you can make sentences of your own using these idioms. So today you'll have to write all these idioms I have here in your notebook, that is your English notebook, and write the meaning beside the idioms. Then you have to write exercise B2 and B3 from page number 27 of your real English book in your English notebook. We have already done it and discussed it. So if you remember or you have jotted down somewhere, then if you don't, then you'll have to look up the meanings again. B3 is easy. In B2, you have to underline the idiom. They have not asked you to write the meaning, they have just asked you to underline the idiom. But I had told you to write the meaning on the side beside the sentence. If you have done it, you just have to copy it in your notebook. But if you have not done it, you'll have to find it. You can find it from a book or from the net and write it in your notebook. After you copy all the sentences and underline the idiom, the meaning you can write in the next line. Then you will go and do B3 in your notebook. You just have to copy the first sentence, and then you don't have to copy all the three options. After you copy the sentence, you underline the idiom in that sentence and then write what it means. Just one correct answer from the multiple choice. Because as I've told you, in your exams, you may not get a multiple choice. That means you may not get options and you may have to write the meaning on your own. For example, the first one is Tara is a chip of the old block. Now, which one is an idiom here? A chip of the old block. Now, out of the three options, what is the meaning? Tara is made of block, Tara is small in size, or Tara is very similar to her mother in her habits. Yes, the last one is right. Tara is very similar to her mother in her habits. So in your notebook, you are just going to write Tara is a chip of the old block. Underline the idiom, which is a chip of the old block. And below it, you are going to write what it means. That is, Tara is very similar to her mother in her habits. So, what is the homework today? You have to write all the idioms which are there in the video and write beside it the meaning. You can write the meaning in simple words. And then you have to copy B2 and you have to underline the idioms. What it means is already given in the idioms. So you will have to write all the idioms and their meanings. B3, you'll copy the sentence and then what it means, just one correct option. Thank you, children. Have a great weekend. Till we meet again next week with another interesting topic. Thank you.